Well, good morning, everybody. This is Steve Wright with the Farmer for Business Initiative, Economic and Workforce Development. I'm here with Audrey Riley of the Centers of Excellence, who's completed a social media scan, which is a very useful document in terms of understanding the job market for social media. I've read a lot of scans, and after about 20-some years with Verizon GTE, reading market research reports all the time, I can tell you that when I come across a really excellent piece of work, I really appreciate it because it tells me what I need to know. And when I read this scan, I just thought this is timely, this is accurate, it puts a lot of good things in perspective. But how do we fulfill on what Audrey has listed towards the end of the scan, the things that we need to think about in terms of curriculum and that sort of thing? And it tied into another problem that I've been addressing in my initiative. And you know, I've been looking for ways to take some of the work that I've been doing with the business community in terms of economic development and social media awareness for business growth, and try to integrate it into social media curriculum development, as Audrey has indicated in her scan. So, and many faculty have called me over the course of the last year or so saying, hey, who's doing what in social media? So it just seemed like a good opportunity. So that's what this combined session is about. First, we're going to have Audrey go through her scan, and then I'm going to introduce the social media curriculum collaborative website that we've developed to try and help us pull together and get some of these things done. So with that kind of as a general introduction as to why we're here and how this meeting happened, Audrey, would you like to take it from there?
Absolutely. Good morning. My name is Audrey Riley. I'm the director of the Center of Excellence that is hosted at Mount San Antonio College and serving Los Angeles and Orange counties. Briefly, if you're not familiar with the Centers of Excellence, that is an initiative that is funded by the Chancellor's Office Economic and Workforce Development Program. We have 4 funded regional centers in California and a 5th one that is an affiliate. Our main goal is to conduct research on workforce development needs for emerging industries and high-demand occupations. And for more information, feel free to visit us at coeccc.net. Today I'm here to talk to you about our social media report. I worked on this project with Michelle Marquez, who is the COE Director for Central Valley and South Central Coast. She's done an amazing work, so I really want to acknowledge her for all of her work. She was unable to join us today because she's making another presentation at this very moment for her regional consortium. Although Michelle and I have a region, the scope of this report is truly statewide, so every county is represented in our study. Our research objectives were to identify the top occupations that implement social media for business. What this means is that we don't really have a lot of knowledge from the past about jobs that are about social media because it's something that is so new and emerging. So we wanted to know which are the jobs that really define people working on social media. Also, we wanted to look at occupational growth. When we train students, we always want to make sure that the jobs are growing, that there are openings, and it's a good career path for our students. The next research objective is the skill requirements for the social media workforce. Again, because this is such a new area, we didn't have skills that were already defined. If you look at a more traditional occupation, perhaps a registered nurse or something like that, we already know what skills are, but with social media there was a need to do an analysis of the skills. Also, we asked employers about their interest in training at the community colleges. We wanted to know what they would endorse if we had new programs, what they feel would be useful, and where they would encourage their employees to go to get additional training. Also, there is no inventory of programs for social media, so we looked at all of the different colleges' catalogs to understand which ones already had some programs. And finally, recommendations for community colleges. Our methodology on this report is really interesting because social media being such an emerging industry, there really wasn't a lot of information readily available. So the first thing that we've done, of course, is to look at labor market information. So that's the number of jobs, 5-year projections, and wages. And that's information we get from EMSI to be able to have forecasts that is actually looking forward. It's a little bit more telling than if you were to look at EDD that tends to have older data. Also, to really understand what the skills are, what employers are looking for, and what those jobs really are, We looked at 72 online job postings, and we looked at every word. We analyzed the whole content of all of those job advertisements online. So that was a lot of work, but that taught us a lot about the field. And finally, we did a survey of employers to be able to validate our findings and ask them other questions, such as what kind of training they would like the colleges to provide. And of course, secondary research. We read a variety of articles, and we looked at a lot of websites and even blogs. So it's a report that's very comprehensive with several data sources to be able to validate what we found and check with businesses to make sure that what we came up with truly represented what their need is. Now, why social media? I'm sure many of you on the line are very clear on why it's important, but if you really look around, everybody today is using Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn to communicate online. It's not just something that young people are doing. It's just a new way for people to communicate. And that goes beyond just communication between people. Businesses are using social media to market their products and services. And in fact, today, it would be a big business error and missed opportunity not to do social media because it's one of the best ways to connect with their target audience. By using social media, they can create a relationship with their customers. They can communicate on an ongoing basis, talk about their products, talk about their services, have special offers for people who follow them on Twitter or Facebook or any other social media platform. Also, by using social media, businesses get exposure to their followers' personal network. You know how you can like a business on Facebook and that's going to show on your wall and everybody looking at your wall will be able to see that. That's basically free advertising for those businesses using social media. And also they can generate passive income. They can have affiliates. There's all sorts of things that they can do using social media to generate more income beyond what they're already doing with their business. So that's why social media is so important today, and we can't ignore it because it's not something optional. It's something that is a true part of business now. It's a core function of business marketing. So we wanted to know, what's the impact on occupations? What does that really mean for workers and for jobs? And the analysis showed that there are some brand new jobs that are emerging, such as social media specialists, bloggers, social media managers, or social engagement managers, social networking associate. There are all sorts of new job titles for social media, but the quantity of those jobs is not really the only thing that colleges should pay attention to. There are those emerging jobs, but there's also a huge amount of workers, a huge number of workers who are already in marketing, and now they're being asked to integrate social media into what they have been doing. So beyond just the new jobs that are emerging, there's a large number of jobs that are traditional jobs that need to integrate those new skills to be able to continue to perform in their work in marketing, PR, etc. Workers have to learn those skills, and even small businesses need to learn those skills. It's not something that is just for large corporations. It is just the way that marketing is done now and in the future. We looked at all of the jobs and were able to group them into 4 categories. So basically, social media is impacting people who work in public relations, in marketing and media communications, in business development and sales, and there's also the management aspect of social media. So these are the 4 categories of jobs that we use for the analysis. Looking at employment projection, this is a graph from EMSI that is showing the number of jobs in 2011, projections for 2016, the number of jobs, the number of new jobs, which is the growth between those 2 years. And also you will see the next column is total job openings. What that means is we are counting brand new jobs and also adding vacancies that are due to retirement or turnover. Because what we really want to know is how many jobs are open for our students to go and apply for, and not just how many are brand new and did not exist in the past. So you can see here that it actually represents for California over 160,000 jobs in 2011, which is significant. And the number of openings is over 30,000 openings. So that's definitely the kind of labor market we want to pay attention to, with a percent change, which is the growth of 7%. And if you look at the wages also are pretty good. Many of these jobs don't need a high level of education. They can be for people with a certificate, an associate degree, or a bachelor's degree, and the wages are pretty good. So again, why is the labor market for social media important? Because of its size, with over 160,000 jobs, because of the job creations and all of the job openings. Now I'm going to show you the differences per region, and you will see that the jobs are in really high numbers in Los Angeles, Orange counties, and the Bay and Silicon Valley. These are the two top regions for the number of jobs. So you can see on this chart here, in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley, there's over 8,000 jobs. LA and Orange County, over 12,000. So here this is showing you the distribution for the different types of jobs and for the regions. There is a lot more information available on our report. I will give you the link at the end of this webinar. I really encourage you to go and look at the full report. It's going to have a lot of data that will be specific to your area, especially if you're writing a grant or you just want to know what the labor market looks for your area specifically. Next, we looked at social media skills. We really wanted to know, what does a social media worker do, and what skills are required for somebody to get hired. So we analyzed 72 jobs that were posted online to identify those skills. And the overall, for all of the things that we've analyzed, the top 3 skills were linking social media to business strategy, and that makes sense. It's not about just having a Facebook page. It's about truly using social media effectively to link that to the goals of the organization. Executing social media, that's the implementation part. It's very important for people to implement it well, because as much as social media can boost your sales, there can also be some serious faux pas and errors that can actually hurt your brand and hurt your business. So executing it effectively is extremely important. And the third one, social media metrics and data, is very important too. The work has to be measurable, and they should be able to measure the impact of their work, how many people they are reaching, what's the effect on sales, is it working, is it effective. So these are 3 most important skills overall, but now I'm going to share with you the top 3 skills for each occupational group. The first one, for public relations specialists, the top skills were ability to develop and execute social media strategy that aligns with business strategy, ability to develop compelling social media content. That makes sense, of course. The content is crucial to whether or not people will want to follow and actually use what is being offered by the company. Ability to manage daily operations of social media, and strong analytical and writing skills. Second one, marketing and media communication. Ability to manage social media daily, ability to collect and analyze success metrics and report the impact of social media programs to management. Great communication skills. Here again, communication skills are always very important, but again, social media is all about communication. That's why it came up in virtually every job posting that we looked at. Experience using social media to attain business objectives. Here again, employers are looking for proven success. Sales and advertising. The top skills are ability to develop social media strategies to improve business. Those employees really need to know what works and what doesn't, and what is most appropriate for their organization and for the products and services that they represent. Ability to execute social media across multiple platforms. Again, here it's knowing which are the platforms that are most conducive to their goals and how to use them effectively. Ability to effectively use social media metrics and data to make business decisions. So here again, it's about being able to measure and make the right decisions for the business. Ability to identify and integrate social media trends into strategy and execution. And finally, social media management. Again, these jobs are the management. It's the higher level. The other ones were more about the specialists and people implementing. Here the top skills are ability to leverage social media to establish relationships and drive sales, understanding the social landscape and the latest trends and development, experience using social media to generate sales, and ability to identify key performance indicators of social media. So that gives you an overview. There's more detail in the report, but I don't want to go too much in detail during the webinar this morning. I'm trying to keep this brief. So then we did an employer survey, and we asked them what their suggestions were for community colleges beyond what we asked already about skills. And not surprisingly, their first recommendations was to give students hands-on experience by providing internships, applied class projects, and having industry experts teach courses. That's something I hear on almost every scan for almost every industry, but this here is extremely important because if we were to only teach theory and not having applied class projects and not giving students the opportunity to truly do this hands-on, they wouldn't really get the right experience to know what works, what doesn't, what is the most effective way to get it done. And that's obviously something that any college creating a program would want to be integrating into their courses. Second one, teach an understanding of the bigger picture. This includes understanding the strengths and weaknesses of social media, knowledge of advertising, marketing, and the audience. Third one, teach students ethics and standards for professional writing, including tone, voice, and ethics, PR, advertising, and journalism. And the last one, keep students current on the latest social media trends. Next slide, training and education preferences. We asked employers if we had social media programs, which ones they would actually recommend to their employees. And you can see an overwhelming support for social media programs. The first one-day workshop, is very appealing because people could come and get some initial skills and teachings on social media without having to go to college for a long period of time. So that's definitely something that they were interested in. The certificate programs also, 51% said they would recommend that their employees go for a certificate program. Semester-long course, a little bit less, 40%, and degree program, 29%. So overall, there's definitely interest in a community college program in social media, but it just shows us that we don't necessarily need to have programs that are really long because employers believe that something shorter would actually be sufficient to teach the content and the knowledge that is required in social media. So we just have to think outside the box a little bit. Not everything has to be an associate degree format. So we looked at which community college programs already exist in California, and there's no inventory that's already existing. We actually had somebody look at all 112 community college catalogs to try to find courses and programs. And as of February 2012, we couldn't find any associate degree in social media or any certificate in social media. If you know of one, we apologize for not finding it. We were as thorough as we possibly could, but we just weren't able to find any in California. We did, however, find some courses that were related to social media, and some of them were credit courses such as online media communication or internet communications, internet marketing and promotions, those sorts of things. So we're glad to see that this is being taught in marketing programs at the community colleges, but there were not very many. You can refer back to the report and see the details of everything that we found. We also found some community ed classes and workshops offered by some centers and grants. For example, small business development centers may have a 4-hour seminar on how to use Facebook, on how to use Twitter, how to use LinkedIn. So there is some offering at the community college level, but just not a lot at this point in time. When you refer back to the report, you can also see some model programs that were from out of state or outside of community colleges that we found were right on target based on what employers were asking for. So that's available there as well. Finally, the recommendations from the report. We saw that there is definitely a need for California community colleges to prepare students for social media jobs. And that can be done through the development of professional certificates, or the development of courses in social media to provide a skill update for professionals already working, and embedding social media into current programs. I don't think we can teach marketing without teaching social media any longer. That's something that every college needs to take a good look at, is how to integrate those new ways of marketing and have that in their business programs. So that's what prompted us to talk with Steve and talk about, okay, what are the next steps? Here we have all the research that supports the next steps, and this has to be coordinated. and Steve offered to create this incredible website, and I'm going to pass it on to him in just 1 minute. On the last slide here, this is the website for you to go and download the full report. So again, it is coecc.net/ICT. ICT stands for Information and Communication Technologies. And I'm now going to pass it on to Steve for the next steps and how to implement the work.
Thank you, Audrey. That was it was brilliant. And like I said before, when I read this research report initially, I was stunned because I've been doing a lot of work in this area for the last couple of years, and I hadn't seen anybody put it together so concisely and appropriately for our community college audience. I'm the state director of the Alma for Biz initiative, which is an economic and workforce development program. Formerly it was called MEI, Multimedia and Entertainment Initiative. Some of you may recall John Avakian, who was the statewide director for that. I took it over a couple of years ago. We changed the scope and the direction. I'm hosted out of Santa Barbara City College, and we have centers at Hartnell, LA Valley College, and the North Orange County Community College District. The idea of getting into social media and from an economic and workforce development perspective went through many phases, but we put on 2-day workshops where we dragged about 10 small business owners in, and they were reluctant at first, and somewhere through the middle of the first morning they would realize that their markets had moved online, and they hadn't, and then they would be very attentive and stay throughout the day and come back the next day and ask questions and pester our consultant forever and ever. But in watching all that, I realized, and I just could pick people over 30, but we're at the greatest risk of becoming technologically obsolete of any generation in history, and I really think that's because of the incredibly high speed that these changes are just structurally changing the way business has done. And since I did this slide about a year ago, I'm sure that 75% of these icons are no longer functional. The workforce is at risk, obviously. Anybody who's trying to do a marketing job or anything else like that, or gets laid off, and all of a sudden they're going to be looking for a new job. If they don't know these things, they're just not market worthy. But it also affects the competitive of California companies. If the average consumer is buying stuff online at 10 o'clock at night, and our business people in California aren't there to provide them the product or the service, then obviously it's going to go out of state. And most of us as users understand a lot of these applications. We know Facebook, we might know something about Twitter, we know LinkedIn or whatever, but think of it from the other side of it, which is you're a small business, and you've got to make sure that your profile to the world online is adequate and on target, and you're meeting the demographic that you want to sell to. It's a different responsibility, and it takes some strategy and work. And I think one of the brilliant things about Audrey's presentation is she tied in very much the idea that strategy is the key to it, if you understand the business strategy. So when we redesigned our initiative to be the interactive internet and mobile applications, and by the way, interactive internet for us is an umbrella term that includes social media and, well, it does include mobile applications, but we kind of broke them out because people don't always get that. But it also includes a lot of things like collaboration and productivity, putting your back office systems on the cloud as opposed to on somebody's PC at a desk down the hallway. And this is the way business is going, so we wanted to embrace that whole thing. And our goal, obviously, is to accelerate the adoption of interactive internet and mobile applications for business by the experienced workforce. And that's the economic and workforce development perspective as opposed to the student-driven. And that's why I think this marriage of the two right here is good. Our scope has been small business, government, Spanish-speaking professionals, as well as our own faculty and instructional staff. Typically, in the initiative, we'll use workshops, conferences, and online videos. And we're very fast. I have a certain budget. It's not a big budget, but if all of a sudden we find out there's a professional who's great at a certain thing, and they can cover a topic for us and get it to our business community. I can get out there and video that thing and put it online in about a month. And compared to the evolution of curriculum, that's something I can do and do well. And so we're looking at how to put all this together, because I believe we really do have some common success metrics: jobs, internships, reported business revenue improvements, certificate completion rates. And that's going to stay there no matter how many things change. I wanted to show you some of the things we've done already, just to give you an idea. The 2-day workshop that we did for businesses, we've turned it down to 2 hours worth of short videos at 3 to 5 minutes. We're using a strategic planning process called SWOT to help the business person taking the course organize their thoughts about social media and how you use it to plan your strategy, as well as how you use it to execute your strategy. And we've also provided this as a tool for educators to add to their classroom curriculum. So if you want to include this as something your students can go to and do online, we can add your classroom or your course number to the registration process, and any student that signs up to take this under your course number, then we will let you know who they are and how many videos they watch. So this has been our attempt to reach out to small businesses in this way, and it seems like it's a very appropriate thing to share it with the people making the curriculum for the community college system. Another thing we do, 20% of the businesses, so the 740,000 small businesses in California, are owned or operated by someone who speaks primarily Spanish. And these people need to understand social media as well. And as a matter of fact, there's a unique opportunity in the world right now, because so much international trade is occurring, and social media through the internet passes across borders easily. Spanish is the second most used language in the world at 330 million users. English is the third at 320 million. And for those of you involved with Mandarin, it's 965 million people. So I think as we look forward to how the economy is going to restructure with the internet and social media and trade and commerce and advertising, those language barriers, or the fluidity of those languages, is going to be something we're all going to have to consider. So the long and short of that is we have a real opportunity in California with people who do speak Spanish, and getting them on the internet and communicating with other Spanish language countries and participating in international trade. We put together this all-day Spanish language conference. It's always amazing when I sit through it and watch the passion, the attention, and the note-taking. Nobody leaves. We just had our third one at Hartnell. Each time we get hundreds of people to attend, and the Hartnell one we videoed, and it's going to be online in about a week. And with that link, any outreach you have to Spanish language businesses or whatever, they now have a curriculum asset that they can go to and learn about social media. One more thing, just to give you an example, we reached out to legislative staff in Sacramento and put on a conference for them. Ultimately, it's the legislative staff that decides on the budget for programs like economic and workforce development in the community colleges. So I thought it might be wise to give a little bit of help back to them. And the interesting thing here is, and this was actually occurred before we started doing all these other online capture of our program, is we marketed this really well. We actually hand-delivered invitations to each office in the Capitol weeks apart, and used all the Twitter feeds and every other email system that there is to get to these people. And despite all that effort, and knowing that there's probably about 500 or 600 staff, and we gave them free food too, we only had 30 show up. Now, they were the real deal. They were chiefs of staff. There were all kinds of important people there. So fortunately, we planned to video the thing, and we videoed it, put it up about a week later, had 200 views the following week. So we had to learn what we were telling people. And so when it comes to how we use our curriculum, our curriculum assets, and what we're doing, I think part of it is at least hybrid in the sense that we've got to get everything online. And when it's online, it's the easiest for us to share with you when you're putting together your curriculum. I want to give you an overview of those things because another piece of work we do is to try to collaborate with not only the industry but with our partners here in the community colleges, the faculty who are putting together the courses. So I wanted to share that with you to give you an idea of what we bring to the table. And what I'd like to talk about next is the collaboration process, the website that we put together. And it was interesting, I recently went to the California Economic Summit in Santa Clara, and the idea was to bring together the heads of all these economic development groups throughout the state and talk with some pretty high-level people about economic development. And it was a very impressive group of people, and he talked about collaboration, and the lieutenant governor was there, Gavin Newsom. And he used this quote that I've suddenly seen a ton of times in the last, I don't know, like a month, and that is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think it's attributed to an African proverb. Well, it's a very impressive concept, and that's what collaboration is all about. But what followed was that they got everybody in this big meeting to go to breakout tables and answer questions and fill out little yellow stickies and put them on a wall and volunteer to be champions of this thing or that thing. Here's the leadership of all the economic development groups and in cities and counties, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and everything. And after that happened, then nothing. That was like a month and a half ago. The collaboration isn't occurring. So I think this collaboration thing it's easy to say let's collaborate, but it's hard to do it. And I think we have a real opportunity here at the community college system. And so that's why I decided that it would be a good idea for us to try to put together this collaboration site. And it's called CCC Collab. And that is, in this initial launch, that means social media curriculum collaboration, and had to shorten it a little bit. But as I've looked at it, I thought, it's also a lab. It's a laboratory on collaboration. So it's our hope that we can learn how to do collaboration a lot better with the participants of this site. And on the site, the idea is to answer one of those questions I get on the phone all the time is, Steve, who do you know that's doing social media curriculum development? I get this from faculty, instructors that call me from time to time. And I have to look back through my notes and try to find this person or that person. So at minimum, it's a list of who's interested in that, where you are, and maybe something about what you're doing. Beyond that, the extent to which you wish to share your elements of your curriculum or favorite links, and discuss curriculum development or what other people's curriculum is, link to different things, share, comment regarding social media curriculum. That's what this site is for. And for example, here's a little discussion page. I recently found a social media map that is just about as confusing as it can be. But it has everything on it by the different kinds of segments and everything else. And that's when I realized, when I saw this thing, that's why I could never put that Excel spreadsheet together where I neatly would put everything into a pocket as to what it does, because originally I thought I could do that, but I'm a user. I share that here on our website. And for example, I also put up the link and the little short description of the online video workshop that we have, the Armor for Business video workshop for small business. And I would be very happy if somebody would like to post some comments about that or rate it, kind of like Amazon or whatever. I think that's a fun tool that we offer. And then here's another page, a discussion page. I'm interested right now in working with, collaborating with instructors or faculty on putting together a video about news packages. I really believe that more and more often an effective form of communication is someone sends you an email or a tweet or a note that says, check this out, and it's a less than 60-second little audio video news package about something that they think you ought to see or hear. Putting those together on today's desktop technology is not a problem, but doing it effectively and doing it well, that's something that's a teachable skill. And I think that's the communication skill of the future for a lot of situations. So I'm looking for someone who wants to work with me on that, and then if we can turn it into curriculum or whatever, that's cool. So our goals with this website these are the same goals. I pulled them right out of Audrey's scan. Development of professional certificates, courses in social media, embedding social media into current programs. And in order to do that, I'm going to encourage everybody on this call, and we have 21 participants, so that tells me that we've got a good starting group. If you could register on the website and share what you're doing and ask questions and contribute and try to recruit other faculty and help us customize this so it's totally effective. It is not finished. It is simply an empty closet with different segments and rooms for people to populate. And of course, report your successes. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to cover that real quickly, and I think we still have about 20 minutes in our hour allotted time here to go into discussion. And this time we're going to open up the bridge for anybody who has questions, or if you prefer to write your questions in on the chat line, we'll still read those and talk about those as well. So some discussion ideas. So here's just some discussion items. I was just thinking, wow, it would be really cool if people wanted to talk about these things. You know, like, is this webinar valuable to you? You know, how would you like to use the website? What do you think? You know, what kind of curriculum are you working on? That sort of thing. Does anybody have a comment they'd like to kind of break the ice?
Steve and Audrey, this is Maureen White at the Chancellor's Office. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. First of all, thank you. Excellent. I really appreciate it. I came in a little late because one of my colleagues was talking to me for a while. I already posted, so that people who prefer to see something visually, I already posted. It's not really a question, it's a comment. But per our Vice Chancellor Von Tone Quinn-Livin, Workforce and Economic Development, I am working on researching or creating communities of practice or virtual learning communities, which is basically what you just talked about, Steve, and looking at how we can connect our faculty and their disciplines statewide. And the first part of that is, I'm going to defer to both of you since you've done this upfront research already, is what is already in place that faculty, let's say statewide agriculture, faculty can use, or commercial music. Are our faculty using these communities of practice? Do they just have them college-wide or district-wide? What is happening statewide?
I'm really not sure I'm in a position to answer that myself. I mean, maybe someone else on the call does know what typically happens.
I agree. I think this would be a really good question for faculty members who are actually doing it. I'd love to hear that as well. Do we have anybody on the line who's been doing virtual learning communities?
This is Maureen again. Maybe I'm speaking too fast and someone's formulating their thoughts. I oversee the statewide Career Development Advisory and the Collaborative for Career Education Practices, or CTE, basically. And what we have is a NING, N-I-N-G community. And that may be, at one point, that was the thing to do for organizations. And now I'm sure there's a lot more things that you're finding out. And just briefly, what we do and what the career counselors do statewide is they have California Career Cafe for the students and for anyone who wants to utilize those services for assessments and career development, job search, how to get a job, all those kinds of wonderful processes for students to get career pathways, education, and then get a job. However, at the bottom of that home page, it says Contact Us, and you go into a format where you can, I'm in Region 2, which is in the Sacramento area, and the person who's in charge of Region 2 is Brooke Oliver, who's a Career Center Director and also Faculty Senate President at Sierra College. And basically what you're doing is you're asking to join the community. And I've been looking at all their, not just blogs, but it's about where are the jobs that are opening up? What PowerPoint are you using for X vendors? What are materials that have been developed already that faculty and counselors can use so they don't have to take the time to recreate and reinvent the wheel? What are some pertinent articles that are out there about career development, about getting jobs? What are some labor market trends? What do you connect with? Those are the kinds of things we're doing on Ning, and it's connecting that community of practice. So I'm going to just let that sit as one example.
Well, I think that it would be neat as we go along to compare how these different techniques work. I mean, the principal mission of this one is social media curriculum development. Secondarily, it's an experience in collaboration, because obviously it's not going to work unless the collaboration works. But and I know the dilemma of how do you get people behind doing these different things and sharing on websites, that sort of thing. So our hope here is that this will work because we're very tightly focused on one thing, and those people are going to be ardent about that, and they're going to want to participate because they want to get their social media curriculum developed. But I will say, just passively from talking about how is this done with people over the last couple of years, I think there's a lot of disconnects in our curriculum development process. And I think there's a lot of regional and district issues that come up. I'm not sure what they all are, and I waded just far enough into that realm to realize I didn't really want to be part of that. What I wanted to do was just provide a useful site where people who are interested in social media can get together on it. But I do think a lot of our participants on here probably know the answers to these things. Maybe they just not ready to do that right now.
My name's Ann Steinberg, and I'm with Antelope Valley College. And we have built a Second Life location for our students. That's one of the things we've done under SB 70. And we're working on getting that more active for our faculty to go in there and actually do workshops or learning environments. That's one of the directions that we're taking, and we've had difficulty getting it out to our faculty on campus and to counselors and other participants to actively use it. And I think it's the changing world, like you were saying earlier, Steve, is that people are adapting to a new environment, and it's difficult to get everybody on board. I think that's one of the big challenges that we're facing right now.
Well, and part of the answer is traditional. You got to give them good customer service. You got to listen to them. We're going to treat this website as if it's a cocktail lounge. You come in, you're going to get a drink. We're really interested in being proactive, not just setting this up and walking away. And so as long as everybody wants to work with us a little bit, I think we can make that happen. Scott, our website designer, is on board on the call, and as soon as we get some indication of what would be more effective or how to swing this thing around to really engage in meeting the objectives, then we're more than glad to respond.
Okay.
This is Adam Carpier. I'm a Dean of Fine Arts at American Nova College, and I've been following social media, mobile learning type environments for a while now, and trying to figure out ways that we can look at those and kind of leverage. In my mind, I look at a lot of, just in a general sense, the skills and the talents and the comfort that a lot of students bring to the classroom with social media, with mobile devices and mobile learning and accessing information. And that one of the challenges that I see is trying to support that and value those types of skills, almost like a set of basic skills that students already bring. And in many cases, we could do a better job, I think, of supporting that skill set and using that, leveraging that for as a vehicle for students to be not only successful in their classes, but thinking about the jobs that don't exist yet that they're going to be looking for when they're finishing. And in the text chat box, I referenced just a moment ago the New Horizon report that was published on TechEdge. I saw it there just yesterday, I think it was. And one of the things that struck me, I'm a former faculty. When I was a faculty member, I was curriculum chair, so I'm very, very familiar with curriculum development, curriculum classes, working with the State Chancellor's Office as well on curriculum development and all of that. And one of the things that struck me as being so interesting that was referenced in this article is a little subsection called, it says, "Let 1,000 majors grow," and it's this notion of students kind of finding their own individual majors within our curriculum. So I think about, we try to have a solid curriculum, present that to students and help them find pathways through that. But this notion then now kind of as students go and almost pick from a buffet of classes and be able to create their own certificates and programs. I guess the question for me is in working with the Chancellor's Office is where are we statewide in terms of of moving from this model that I see of established certificates, established programs, with labor market support, that students are going to go through that degree or that certificate and come out the other end and then be able to present that to a potential employer, to a type of more flexible, fluid, where students kind of look at all of the courses that we offer and be able to navigate their own path and come up with a set of courses, maybe even cross colleges, and if we're opening up to online opportunities where students not necessarily bound to the institution that's closest to their home. So I mean, some of these things, these are some of the things that that I've been thinking about and wondering kind of where we are statewide.
Well, you bring up some really valid issues. Not all of them fit together rather well. Certainly, the freedom of students to associate their classes together for a unique custom certificate is one that is very compelling in a lot of ways. But on the other hand, we have the argument that the businesses would like to know what they're getting for somebody that has a certain certificate. But then, even with those 2 points of view, the third one is you looked at all these positions that Audrey was talking about out there, and you know that when it comes to social media, everything is a hybrid job. You're going to be using social media with some other skill that you have. I mean, if you go to community college, you get a certificate in social media, and all you know is social media, you're not really worth a whole lot. You need to know the marketing, or you need to know the PR, or maybe it's medical marketing, or maybe it's something else. But there is a lot of customization that eventually fits into that. Yeah, well, these are the kind of things I'd love to see us dialogue and put together. I know. Any other input? It's good. Well, I'm available. Talk on the phone or participate on the website. If you have a special, one of the topics that I think Adam brought up, which I don't think we have a separate section for it on the website, but it's basically how to use social media and these interactive internet tools within the classroom. And I know one of the first things that educators go to is, how can I use this in my classroom? And that's very valid, very real, but it's separate from, what do I need to teach people so they can get a job in this outside? And as long as we can keep those loosely separate, because there is a lot of overlap, then I think we can serve both.
Steve, it's Audrey. I just want to acknowledge there is a participant on the chat, Rupa, who mentioned that they actually already have an approved curriculum to share with others for social media. So I wish they were on the line, but there's definitely some follow-up we can do there to get more information about that curriculum.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
If you can on the line, that would be great. I'd love to hear what you're doing in social media. And you say you have curriculum. If it's a class, a couple of classes, or if it's a certificate, I would love to hear what it is. Okay, great. The message is, I will post the curriculum at the website. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing it. Thank you.
All right, great.
Excuse me, can you hear me? This is Kay O'Neill from Kenyatta College.
Hi, Kay.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation and not at a place where I could log on the website. I'm assuming the presentation and slides will be available. And where, when you refer to the website, could you give me that again, the address?
Yes, www.ccc-collab.org.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll have a link to this webinar there. I guess we'll put the slides there as well. We also have a link there to Audrey's research report. If we don't, we'll probably have it within the next day. And then hopefully we'll have a link to a lot of other things. I mean, I certainly have a link to that news package. There's a funny little skit that I picked up off YouTube about this guy who does a parody of what a news package looks like in the news thing, and it's just a kick. All right, so well, we're coming close to an hour. Anybody else have any other comments? I think it's great that we got Rupa to, we got one person who's going to put their curriculum on there and share it with us. I think that's terrific.
Yes, a quick follow-up on that. There is a message on the chat. So it's a course. It's called Social Media Marketing. It's at Irvine Valley College. And Rupa was kind enough to put the email address there for more information. So thank you so much. We'll be following up with you.
That's good.
Wonderful.
And it is cross-listed with social media marketing at Irvine Valley College. Okay, there are 2 courses, CIM 217 management. Oh, okay, one's management and one's marketing.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good because it is relevant to both programs, management and marketing. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, any other comments? All right, I think this concludes our session.
Yes, it does. And I would just like to add by emphasizing that it's really be valuable if people on this call could see fit to register on the website and share what you're doing, ask questions, and participate. And let's see how we can make this collaboration work for social media curriculum. And then if it does work effectively, or we learn how to make it work effectively, then maybe that's something that we might want to share with the system as a good collaboration model.
Yes, Steve and Audrey, actually you're modeling what we're looking for in the Chancellor's Office on communities of practice and learning communities, and this is an excellent one. Thank you.
Is there a grant involved with that, Maureen?
That's a good point. Really what we're looking at is, are we going to be putting leadership funds into this? I don't know if it's a competitive grant at this point right now. I'm not going to be meeting with Vaughn for probably for another week or so, and I'm just looking at what's out there. It could also be incorporated into some of the regional consortia money. It could be incorporated into what I'm reading right now is Everyone's Perkins 1C grants for the new fiscal year, and I'm responsible for Los Angeles, so I'm reading theirs right now. So those are other ways, and I'm also looking out for other grants coming from Department of Labor and Department of Education. So good question, Steve.
Oh yeah, we're interested in whether it's competitive or not competitive. Grants are grants.
Yeah.
And but the main thing is to see what works. I try to always come back to that one word that Peter Drucker used, which is it effective?
Yeah.
Effectiveness is really what matters. And this is we're stumbling through this, and hopefully we'll figure that out.
Thank you. This has been tremendously informative, and I'm so pleased to see that this collaboration is going on. I've went and registered already for the CCC CoLab website, and I see there's about a dozen people who have signed up. So I look forward to kind of following that and continuing the conversation.
Great, and when you're on there, don't hold back. If you think something's BS or screwed up, let us know. I mean, I think it's not real, it's not dynamic unless people are willing to go ahead and say things. And it is register protected. It's intended for California Community College faculty and economic workforce development instructors only. Okay.
Well, is that is it faculty only, or is it as an administrator?
No, an administrator. Yeah, I mean, but what I meant is we don't want every consultant up and down the state, jumping in there and taking our ideas for curriculum and that sort of thing. So it's the idea is we benefit the community college system. Okay, good. Well, thank you all. Unless there's anything else, then really appreciate you attending. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.